Evening, y'all. Or, whatever time it is, wherever y'all are, afternoon, morning, twilight. I don't know, I can't judge. I can't psychically predict when, people will be watching this video. And if I could, I don't know if I would want to, because I would be able to see that people might not be watching the video, then I'd what could I do? I'd have to invent time travel, or then go and talk to them. It doesn't seem like, with everything else going on right now, it doesn't seem responsible to be using anything to go into the future and tell people to be watching this video. But, evening, y'all, for all intents and purposes. Watch it in the evening if it makes you feel more comfortable, Anyway, I'm young Southpaw, And I got to get some stuff off my mind as usual, with everything going on in the world right now, I sincerely wish that I could get over, the fact that I've had the time of my life and hungry eyes could not possibly be from the time period Dirty Dancing deals with, I was doing fine. I hadn't thought of this in quite a while, man, but I was at the supermarket. It must have been some weeks ago now, I was just hoping against hope to get some soup. You know how I feel about soup. Delicious, delicious soupy soup, But I was at this supermarket, and the radio, man, just started playing Hungry Eyes from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. Which, now that I think about it, is a genius thing to be playing where they sell food. In principle, just slipping it in like that, arrogantly thinking that, don't worry, I'll wash my hands. I saw I touched my lip there. Arrogantly thinking that people aren't going to equate it with the phrase, your eyes were bigger than your stomach. Such bravado, they obviously didn't count on the effect it would have on me, young Southpaw. Just send me into a state of confusion like that, like that Kinks album, came out in 1983. Dirty Dancing didn't hit theaters till 1987, So, I guess the two of them, span the time between David Lee Roth being in and out of Van Halen. Like a Schrodinger's cat, a Schrodinger's Roth, But I heard that song, man, I forgot all about food. I started pondering. Brooding would not be too strong a word for it, It completely bugged me out, So, first of all, eyes, are not hungry. That's a property of the stomach, But then I started questioning myself, was there some sort of scientific movement, development, study in the mid-'80s where they were testing these things out and I just completely missed out on it, Or, during the time period that Dirty Dancing was supposed to take place, was there also some scientific research going on? And there's this underlying theme in the movie that no one's really picked up on, That it was about, eating with your eyes. It didn't seem like a horror movie. Well, maybe to some of y'all. But there's that whole phrase, your eyes were bigger than your stomach. It doesn't even make sense, of course. They're not, or weren't, to keep the tense right, But there's those big-eyed paintings, Margaret Keane, those are rad, I know people who own those, never owned one myself, but I might in the future. Maybe if I did invent time travel, I'd go figure that out. Make the plans for it now, But even then in those portraits, I don't think the eyes are bigger than the actual stomachs, I don't think she painted any stomachs, But and you'd never say this to a cow. They've got 4 stomachs, they'd be all like, which stomach, yo? But because she didn't paint the stomachs, it's impossible to, make the call of what was going on there. Yeah, but wait, those before pictures, what those were all about was they had ordered too much food and she painted those up, are there after photos anywhere, Maybe hidden on the sets in Dirty Dancing. The saying is meant to imply that you thought you could eat more than you could, So it all boils down to money. Because you're wasting food, unless someone else eats it. And then, how big are their eyes? But is it a part of the body, that correlates to money, like the stomach does to food? But what if you eat your own eyes? That could be a problem. I mean, for many reasons. I mean, no one does this that I know, I mean, like trying to teach the eyes an old lesson, I mean, so you're not ordering more food than you could possibly eat in the future. But I mean, in that case, it does make sense, to scarf down one's own eyes, like an eye for an eye, have the punishment fit the crime, an eye for a stomach. Little twist there, maybe a twist of lemon, make it more palatable. That's a little joke for y'all. But I mean, there weren't any major food seeds in Dirty Dancing. I mean, that I remember, I mean, they were eating breakfast when babies all, talking to daddy and whatnot, But I mean, Dirty Dancing and food, I mean, was it dirty because, like, there was, like, a food fight, I mean, that's more messy than actually dirty. They could have called it, like, Messy Mambo or something like that, like Filthy Foxtrot. I don't know. Could have been, there's still time for a sequel, couple sequels. Whew. I wonder if anyone will get on that, I'm not going to ask for any money. Well, I mean, I should take that back, I mean, if it's as big as the original Dirty Dancing, I mean, kick me a couple bucks to get some soup for that idea, I would sure appreciate it, But I mean, there was that whole 60s Czech film, Daisies, Vera Chitolova. I love that movie. They had the big food fight at the end, I mean, it hardly seems like it could have inspired Dirty Dancing. But I mean, I can't rule that out, I mean, the 80s, sorry about that cough. The 80s, they were a weird time, I mean, David Lee Roth had just left Van Halen. And I mean, if they were going to use modern songs, why not use Dance the Night Away? So obvious, Or make a version of Dirty Jumping, Ooh. I'm just going to say it, though, I mean, after Roth had left Van Halen, we had enough to contend with that fact alone. We weren't really prepared to deal with, I've had the time of my life and hungry eyes, there being no possible way they could have been made, in 1963 where the film takes place. I mean, I guess maybe they thought, in the general confusion, they just sneak that right on in and no one would mind because they're still dealing with Roth's departure, But I mean, if we take it at face value, I mean, that this was on purpose. I mean, a whole layer to the film that we're supposed to pick up on. I mean, the only thing that really solves that, I mean, is time travel, right? I mean, Back to the Future had just come out a few years before, the whole Huey Lewis and the news thing with the power of love, I mean, it's tough because, I mean, as far as I can tell, and I've seen Dirty Dancing multiple times, I mean, it seems to be constantly on television and, probably even some other mediums we're not even aware of, But as far as I can tell, you never see time travelers in that film. I mean, please message me if I'm wrong, I mean, though, wait a minute. I mean, like, please be nice about it. I'd be so embarrassed if it was, like, just completely obvious, But I mean, like, if you don't see time travelers, I mean, that means you also don't see them eating. I mean, I just don't know how to resolve this one, And it's been like 33 years since it came out. I mean, since this is a soundtrack issue, I mean, maybe when it turns 33 and a third, they'll send out like an official statement explaining it all. That would sure be welcome, I mean, well, I should put in a disclaimer right now. I have not seen the musical. I mean, if they do explain it all, with all the eye-stomach experiments and the time travel, I mean, if they explain it in the stage show, then I apologize for wasting y'all's time. And let me know, please, I mean, if they, if they address this in the musical, I mean, maybe if they made the show for that very reason to clear this all up, I mean, then I should go see it, set my mind at ease after all these years. But I mean, She's Like the Wind, too. I forgot about that one. I mean, while the Hungry Eyes experiments were going on, were there also, concurrent tests about, like weather and invisibility? All going on at this resort in the Catskills in 1963? I mean, whoa, though, there's that New Order song, 1963, though, the B-side to True Faith, that came out in 1987. Why wasn't that on the soundtrack? It could have cleared a lot of this stuff up.